The honourable member Scarborough-Guildwood.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and may I first at the outset say that I'm splitting my time with the honourable and very capable member from King's Hands. Madam Speaker, it's an honour for me to participate in this discussion, and I like to see it as a discussion as opposed to a partisan debate, because this affects us all, and security is a universal problem regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum. I'm going to take an unusual tack, Madam Speaker, and take us back to 1940. At that point, Canada had something in the order of the third or fourth largest navy in the world, probably one of the larger armies in the world, a growing air force. In fact, Canada was considered a place where a lot of the training took place for people in the Air Force. It was not a good time for the Allies. The Germans were making really good progress right across Europe, literally taking over quite a number of countries, and the British were rightly concerned. There was even talk that, well, actually the British gold reserves had been moved to Canada. There's talk that the royal family might have to be moved to Canada, and the situation was pretty grim. President Roosevelt was trying to help as best he could with the Allies, but he was hampered by domestic politics. And of course, Canada was involved in that war at that point, 1940, very extensively. But Prime Minister Mackenzie King realized early on that Canada is going to have to transfer its security arrangements from the British Empire, the declining British Empire, to the ascendant American Empire. And to that end, he met with President Roosevelt in Ogdensburg, New York, in a railway car, and he negotiated with President Roosevelt that transfer of those security arrangements. And both the Prime Minister and the President saw that the defense of North America was going to take a mutual effort. President Roosevelt was concerned about the upscaling of Japanese aggression in the Pacific, and he saw the British Columbia coast as an easy entry point to North America. German subs were lurking in the North Atlantic, sometimes in the Bay of St. Lawrence Sea, and President Roosevelt felt that a strong that something had to be done, and the initial position of President Roosevelt was to simply make the Canadian military part of the U.S. North Command. And that was a position that was rejected by Mackenzie King, who wanted to keep the Canadian military as a separate, standalone military under the direction of the Government of Canada and the Parliament of Canada. Out of the Ogdensburg Agreement came the Permanent Joint Board of Defense, and it has been, and still is, the senior advisory body to develop defense architecture for North America during the past 80 years. The working presumption, however, has been that Canada would have a fully functioning, standalone military capable of defending Canada and contributing significantly to the defense of North America. 80 years ago, that was very true. And for a long time, it continued to be true. Canadians liked the idea of being independent of the American military adventures. What they don't like, however, is paying for it. You'll recall, Madam Speaker, in this very chamber, President Obama, in the nicest, kindest, gentlest way, said, we would appreciate some help with burden sharing. You'll also recall, Madam Speaker, that President Trump, in his own irritating way, said much the same thing. And you'll take note, Madam Speaker, that Secretary General Stoltenberg has also said much the same thing when he has taken note of our contributions to NATO. Yet the entire premise of Mackenzie King's argument with President Roosevelt was that Canada would have an independent military capable of defending Canada and contributing significantly to the defense of North America. NORAD was the most significant outcome of the Permanent Joint Board of Defense, and it has been a valuable point of collaboration between the two militaries. Canada has been a huge beneficiary of that treaty. That was then, however, and now is now. Over the years, through all Canadian governments, military capabilities have declined along with our percentage of GDP spent on military spending. We have, as the previous member said, have enjoyed a prolonged peace dividend. What he didn't add, and I do add here, has been at the expense of our American cousins. As John Manley, the former Foreign Affairs Minister, once said, you can't always go to the bathroom when the bill arrives. We have spent too much time in the bathroom, and the bill has arrived. Strong, Secure, and Engage contemplated $163 billion of additional spending over 20 years. Unfortunately, even this relatively modest goal has proved to be difficult as the military has lapsed about $5 billion in the last 3 years. The military's own readiness report makes for some depressing reading. And then it comes along February 24th. And as others have said, everything changed. And our entire threat assessment accelerated the timeline way beyond anyone's previous expectations. At that time, Madam Speaker, the Defense Committee was engaged in a threat assessment. And when we began the threat assessment, none of us had anticipated that Russia would actually fulfill an invasion of Ukraine. If we are to defend our own sovereignty, and as importantly, contribute to the sovereignty of others, we have to step up with real fiscal firepower. It's in equipment and personnel, and it's in personnel and it's equipment. Witness after witness after witness before the Defense Committee keeps telling us of CAF's problems with recruitment and retention of personnel. Military personnel are expensive. It costs literally millions of dollars to train and retain a pilot. Retaining a pilot is as difficult as training a pilot. Cyber specialists are a hot commodity, and private companies can offer generous salaries and benefits that are very attractive. Witness after witness tells us of a procurement system that is broken. To quote the Gwynne Dyer, the journalist once said that the next war will be a come-as-you-are war. There won't be any time to fix anything, there won't be any time to buy new stuff, and the bills will be huge because in part we kept kicking the decisions down the road. I'm glad to see that the decision has been made on the F-35s. The early domain warning system is going to be a hugely expensive acquisition. Russia has been shown that it has a hypersonic capability and that it has militarized the Arctic. If you can't defend your sovereignty on your own, then you have to rely on others. And if you have to rely on others, you have to keep the hope that their interests align with yours. Prime Minister Mackenzie King intuitively understood the desire for an independent sovereign nation, and he further understood that the cost of being that independent sovereign nation. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for your time and attention.